Oh my god, the camera is on again. I'm so glad to be back. Hello, gorgeous. How are you guys doing today? I miss you guys so much. If you're new to my channel, my name is Gloria. And if you're old, thank you guys for coming back. I love you guys so much. So as you know, I've been gone for a very long time. I think that is a year plus, if not 2 years. But hey, I'm back. I'm going to be talking about the reason as to why I've been gone. Just a quick disclaimer, if words like depression, anxiety are a trigger to you, please click off this video. You watch my next video that I'm going to be posting in 2 days. But hey, I'm going to be talking about the reason as to why I've been gone. I felt like it's not fair for me to go like for a year and a half or 2 years and then just pop out of nowhere and post a new video. So I'm kind of giving you TMI, but I just want to let you in so that you know what I'm talking about, because if I kind of go on the surface, you might be wondering like, what really happened? So I just want to give you like a quick flashback on how everything started. Yeah, so I remember like this girl, you know, like she's someone who says something the way she says it, and I don't like stuff like that, but it helps. Let me explain. Like she came to my place, she wanted something fixed and all that stuff, so I fixed her clothes and she was like, oh Gloria, like your place is always neat and all of that stuff. What happened? And I was like, oh. I brushed it off because like I don't want to be asked stuff like that. So but when she left, I asked myself like, oh, you put on headsets 24/7, you don't like cleaning anymore. Like I didn't want to do anything. All I wanted to do was close myself in a dark room and be there like alone without any noise, or sometimes like I would get a bag of chips and walk around. I wanted to scream out loud, but I couldn't because you know like there are people around. Like I was in a very dark place. I remember like getting that anger. But I remember this one day, like I had my friend Colin, like she's the only person I would see in a week, like maybe 3 times or 4 times, because we would walk out in the park. And I remember this one time, like I didn't want to walk out anymore, like I didn't want to see anyone apart from the people that I like. It was a must to see them, like my workmates and the customers that I used to, you know, assist and all that stuff. But I remember this one time, I was the one telling her like, oh, let's go work out, let's do yoga, like today, let's do this and that. I wasn't that same person anymore. So I remember hitting her up and told her like, oh, I won't be coming back like for a few days. And a few days turned into a month. Then I realized that I was putting her on hold without telling her exactly what I was going through. Then I was like, oh my god, this is poor communication. So I hit her up and I told her like, oh Colin, like I think I'm going through kind of a stage where I'm depressed and I don't know when I'll be back, but I'm not going to be working out with you like soon. And I only did that because I knew that she was in a capacity, or she's always capable to understand what I'm always telling her, because I'm not a vulnerable person, and that comes from a place that most of the times, like when I talk to someone, they always tell me like it's in your head, like oh, you're overthinking about stuff. So I end up feeling like I'm not helped. But every time I talk to Colin, like I feel like she understands. Like I remember going through my phone and I started deleting some people's numbers. Like the anger that I had kept in the past years, it came back at once. And being the fact that I've been with myself, like I stay alone for most of the times, like I sat myself down and I was like, well, we have to talk, like we need to talk. What are you going through? How am I supposed to help you? Because I realized that I was the common denominator, that the problem was with me. It wasn't with the people around me, but it was with me. So I had to figure that out on my own. Like I realized that I was going through something called depression, which I didn't know. But I started educating myself about it, and I figured that out by watching James Arthur. I love that guy so much. Like I remember watching James Arthur explaining like mental health. He talks about mental health a lot. Like I watched him and I was like, wow, I'm going through the same situation, except I don't know what it's called. So when I knew and I understood that what I was going through was depression, I was like, okay, so how do I get myself through this situation, and how did this situation come? So how did I overcome the stage that I was in, the stage of being depressed, anxious, worried about the future, worried about what is happening to me in the moment that I couldn't explain. Like I was worried about everything and I was suffocating myself. The way I overcame what I was feeling, oh my god, it took the longest time ever. In my head, I think it It was almost maybe a year or months, but in my head it felt like it was almost like a decade. Like I felt like it was for forever, but it took like months or a year. But that was the longest period of my life. That moment where I couldn't figure out what I was going through, yet I knew me so well. That scared the crap out of me. So what helped me was I love music like so much. And when I'm listening to music, like I listen to word by word. That's why I listen like to James Arthur, because I can feel the emotions. I can feel like I can listen to the lyrics and know like I can relate to this and all that stuff. So I remember like there was a period where James Arthur was talking about mental health so much, and it made me aware, and I was like, oh, I'm going through this, so this is the way he overcame it. So if he did overcome it, I can overcome it too. So I was like, oh, okay, this is real. It's not only me. So I became aware that it's a situation that many people go through. So I was like, oh, it's a real situation. I can overcome it. So I started working on myself. I started reading books. I started like watching shows and watching like people who talk about mental health, how you can overcome depression and all that stuff, which helped me a lot. I remember like I had James Arthur's music on repeat almost like for that entire period. If it was a year, because I don't remember the exact months, I would be lying. But for all the entire period, like I had James Arthur's music on repeat. So I remember having the Back from the Edge album on repeat, and the other song that I used to listen to was In My Blood by Shawn Mendes, because I kind of felt like giving up on myself. But then when I listened to that song, it would empower me to feel like, no, you can't give up on you. I remember like listening to Recovery, Someone, and Remember Who I Was. Like I could relate to Remember Who I Was, like some beats of the song, Safety Side, Trainwreck, like, and then I listened to The Sun Comes Up. Like those are all songs by James Arthur, except In My Blood. Like The Sun Comes Up, it would make me feel like, you know what, you're going through this tough moment, but at the end, like the sun is going to come up. Like for me, music makes me feel like I'm going to come out of the dark place that I'm going through at this moment. But I know like music is not something that works out for other people, but I think if you can't see a therapist and you can't afford that, like I think it's better to communicate to someone you trust, your parent, or maybe it could be like an elder sibling, even if it's a young sibling, but someone who is capable of understanding the situation that you're in, someone who is not going to tell you that, oh, you're overthinking about stuff, it's all in your head, like, oh, snap out of it, because those things are not going to make you snap out of the situation that you're in. As much as people would want you to snap out of it, it's not something you can snap out. You can listen to something that empowers you, something that makes you feel like you're going to overcome that situation, not just jumping it, but understand that you're going through a situation you need to work on step by step, because it took me forever to come out from that dark place. And yet it didn't just happen overnight. And I'm still working on some things, like sometimes I find myself down for no reason. But then at the end of the day, like I know that this is a situation that I'm going through and it's not going to get over overnight, but at least like I'll see the sun up if I keep working on it. And I realized that this situation I was going through, the anger that I was feeling, deleting people's number from my phone, those were buried emotions. So what did I learn from this process? I learned to communicate my feelings in the moment without expecting someone to be apologetic about what they did, but just for them to understand me and let them know how they've made me feel. Because in the past, like I wouldn't communicate the way I felt because I'm a non-confrontational person. So I would let things pass, and by that I thought like, oh, so it's gone. I'm over it. But I realized that all the things that they were resurfacing, they are only things that happened in the past. There was nothing that was happening to me in the present. I was doing great in the present. First of all, I wasn't like in any relationship. I wasn't like in anything that could stress me out. I was doing great. Like I didn't even have like friends around me. I had myself. So I realized that everything was just from the past. There were buried emotions that I didn't get a chance to communicate and be like, oh, you did this and you did that. So coming from me, I know I'm not a therapist, I'm not a psychologist, but I would just say that don't bury your emotions. Maybe try to go about them in that very moment try to see that you solve them instead of saying like, oh, I'm over it. Because the truth is, you're not over it. It's going to come back in the future, and when it comes back in the future, it hits you so hard, and it sucks when you don't know what you're going through, and you have to sit there and realize like, oh, this is happening because of what happened in the past. That sucks. So I think knowing that something has affected you, and knowing that it's okay to be emotional, you're not weak, it's okay to feel something, but you don't dwell into your emotions, but you try to work through it and acknowledge it, then you heal and get to another day. I'm so happy mentally right now. I'm very, very okay. I can post videos. Like, I felt like I can't post a video because I felt like I was being a hypocrite, you know, putting on two faces, like pretending that I'm happy, but deep inside me, like I was dying, I was screaming, like for no reason. So I felt like, you know what, I'm going to put this on stove and then take care of me, and when I come back and I'm safe, I'll come back and tell my story. Maybe one person or two people could listen to me and be like, wow, if she overcame that, then I can. So yeah, that is what I was going through. And then in that period when I overcame it, it's not really like, it's not something that goes away like within one day. It took me forever, but when I felt like I was getting me back, I got me who wanted to work out, I got me who wanted to meditate, I got me who wanted to do yoga. Like, I started wanting to see like Colin again, because she's the only friend that I used to see. So I wanted to see her again. Then I was like, wow, I'm getting myself back. So I felt like I owed everything to James Arthur, because it's him that I listened to like throughout that entire period. Like, it's him. I felt like he was my best friend in that moment, which someone might not understand. But when you go through a situation and you've been listening to someone like from Monday up to Friday, January up to December, then you kind of feel like you know that person so much, even when you don't know him. So I felt like I owed him my life. I felt like I should let him know how grateful I was for him, like to having got me through that situation. So I got myself together. Like, I have that anxiety, and I'm always like scared to reach out to people, but I was like, you know what, if he got you through that situation, you have to let him know that he got you through that situation. So I was like a kid, you know. So I DM'd him and I was like, yeah, yes, I did it. And even when I think about it, I was like, ooh. But I DM'd him and I was like, because I was trying to find a balance of not being a crazy fan, but being that person who is grateful because he had got me through a dark moment. Like, when you get through that moment, you feel like you want to scream out to the world and tell them, whoa, I'm free, like I'm happy now, I'm back. Like, that's what I felt, but I couldn't. So I DM'd him and I was like, I don't really remember the exact words, but I remember like telling him how grateful I was, because I used to watch his Insta stories, and I don't know, but I love his sense of humor. So I let him know, like, I told him like, oh, I was going through a tough time, but I always watch your Insta stories and they make me happy, blah blah blah, like your music has got me through the darkest time of my life. Guess what? He replied and he said, thank you so much, you've made my day. I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I felt like, oh, he's real. Yeah, that's what I felt, and I was like, whoa, he's real. Like, the person who got me through this is real, he exists. And I was like, oh, thank you so much. Yeah, but that was my story, and that was what I was going through. So I just want to put this out there. I can't wait for Mental Health Day to let you guys know that mental health is a serious issue. I can't wait for that day, yet people go through it on a daily basis. All I can say is mental health is a big deal, and if you're not okay in here, nothing will be okay on the outside. Yeah, so that is my story. I love you guys so much for sticking around and listen to me through this entire time. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I'm going to be posting very new videos. I have a birthday vlog coming up. I have a swimsuit try-on haul coming up. I have very many videos coming up, but I just couldn't post them without letting you guys know where I've been. I thought it was so unfair. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a like if you liked it, and if you didn't, let me know why you didn't like it in the comment section down below. Until next time, guys, I love you so much. Mwah. Adios.